You're listening to the Trading Bear Podcast. This is episode 64, The Daily Show.
Mystery player. Position.
Defender.
Start price.
89p.
Current price.
£2.25.
PB.
8p.
MB.
14p.
Dividend yield.
9.9%.
Welcome back, thanks for joining again. In today's news, the clash between Pogba and Manchester United continues as Pogba decides, should I stay or should I go? For now he stays, and indeed he has been included in United's 18-day tour travelling party to Australia, Singapore and China. Now Pogba himself concluded his own tour of the Far East only just a few weeks ago, and is certainly clocking up the air mileage. Whether or not that air mileage will increase with a trip to Turin or Madrid is now the big question on everyone's mind. Mino Raiola, Pogba's agent, is no stranger to controversy and long drawn out transfer sagas, so expect this one, and indeed Raiola's other customer, Matthijs de Ligt, to continue to rumble on all summer long. And indeed there are green shooting signs of pre-season matches starting to come into traders' thoughts, as two of the biggest risers today are Mason Greenwood, after his expected inclusion in the United touring squad, going up 7p to £3.43, and the previously mentioned Rhian Brewster, who rose 8p today, taking him to a current price of exactly £3. With the likes of Salah and Sané at the African Cup of Nations, Roberto Firmino still away with Brazil as they take on Peru in the Copa America final, it leaves Liverpool's attacking force severely depleted. The attacking trio will almost certainly be given an extended break after a long and heavy season, leaving the first few pre-season matches to the fringe squad. These likely squad players then have a chance to stake their claim for a match day. We saw plenty of examples last year in cup games and squad announcements on the excitement on the market for hyped young players, and that trend most certainly looks to continue this year. Expect Brewster then, playing in an early easier matches, to really boost his appeal upon any goals scored in pre-season. Amongst the top fallers today are two players strongly linked with Premier League pair Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspurs. First up is Sporting Lisbon attacking midfielder Bruno Fernandes and his ongoing situation with United. Priced currently at £2.65, after a slight 5p drop, he seems fairly well priced for what I would describe as a 65 to 70% chance of actually going to United this summer. The deal may well be made slightly more complicated with the Pogba stay or go situation, but if I was a holder of Fernandes, I certainly wouldn't be looking to get rid at the moment, and indeed the only news today was positive news, suggesting he is still very much a target, so a slightly odd drop, but nothing to panic about. The other player to drop is current Zagreb midfielder Dani Olmo. Spanish under-21 talent has been linked with Spurs in recent days and weeks, although this one seems slightly less likely than the Fernandes to United move. He fell 4p today to take him down to £1.41, and a lower clear talent, this seems a risky buy for myself unless you got in early. He could well stay for another year at Zagreb given his young age to aid his development, and should he do so, then a player at £1.41 playing in the Croatian League, a non-PB league, is hardly ideal. Of course, should he move, then you could well be richly rewarded, but there's too many ifs involved here for me in this particular trade at the moment. We go into this episode's prospect player now, a player who I feel could do well in the near future and attract buys. For this episode we head to Bruno Fernandes' current home city and the Portuguese settlement of Lisbon. But it's not Sporting where we find this episode's prospect player, but rather their intercity rivals Benfica. With the recent £120 million mega sale of João Felix finally going through to Atletico Madrid, a gap has opened for the next emerging star. That gap looks to have potentially already been filled, with 20-year-old João Felipe seemingly next off the Benfica conveyor belt. Felipe was by far and away Portugal's best player in the recent Under-19 World Cup held in Poland at the end of May, despite a very disappointing premature group exit for the much-fancied Portugal side. His price dropped after this exit to settle at the current price of £1.39. Now, as we've seen with Felix's astronomical rise in the season just gone, a player doesn't have to play in a PB league to reach heavy premium status. Felipe did enough to convince myself in those few matches that he's definitely one to continue to watch this season. A tricky dribbler that gets the crowd off their seat type player, with the added bonus of being on set pieces, his game looks perfectly suited to the PB matrix. Early season form will see how quickly his price develops. This episode's prospect player is Benfica forward João Felipe. Let's have a look at some of your questions now then. This episode's first question comes via email, with Rupen Shah asking, clearly any type of transfer speculation connected to the top 6 in the EPL seems to help boost the player's value. What sites therefore do you use to research potential transfer connections to these clubs? Hi Rupen, indeed you're right, any link to a top side in the EPL, especially Manchester United, will see a rise in price, if only fleetingly, as we've seen numerous times already this season. As to what sites to use to research these rumours, well 9 times out of 10, unless you happen to be on the site as soon as the page is uploaded, you would have missed a rise. So before I mention a few sites, always remember why you're buying that player. Make sure he has a true value. And by that, I mean if the transfer doesn't go through, then he's still a good hold. An example of this would have been Joan Jordan, now at Seville. At the time of buying, he was at Eibar running the show, and if a transfer had not been finalised, he still would have been a good hold. You also need to get in early. Don't wait for transfer news to be released. Rather, buy that player a few weeks before, with a transfer to a bigger club being the icing on the cake, rather than the main ingredient. Right then. As to sites, well I use footballespania.net and footballitalia.net. Then on Twitter I scan the Get Football News accounts, for example Get French Football News. I then interlink this with the English newspapers, the Index Game community and reliable journalist accounts such as David Ornstein or Gianluca Di Matteo, and piece it all together. Though in truth I don't particularly trade much on transfers, and rather see a transfer as an extra bonus. This helps reduce the risk in a transfer related buy on Football Index. Transfers have always been high risk and high reward. Question 2 arrives via Twitter, with Project X wanting to know the following. Do you expect there to be another marketing promotion, similar to the Try January promotion, before the 1920 season starts? If so, when do you expect this to be announced? Thanks. Well, firstly, yes, I do expect there to be a promotion push for new users before the season starts. And secondly, I expect that announcement to be made very soon, perhaps in the next couple of weeks or so. With the ongoing Media Madness promotion and the 10% deposit bonus previously, I think rightfully so, the FA were eager not to run too many promotions alongside each other, and in the process add confusion to the mix, / overload the product with promotions. However, with the deposit bonus now ended, and the Media Madness with a couple more weeks to run, I expect an announcement to be made the last week of July, a week or so before the new Premier League season starts, to coincide with TV adverts alongside Sky's promotional adverts of the new season ahead. As to what to expect from a new user promotion, I wouldn't be too surprised if it wasn't exactly the same as January's. For those listeners that perhaps joined after January 2019 and unaware of what I'm talking about, well, Football Index ran a month-long promotion period from January the 1st to January the 31st, whereby new users could trade completely risk-free up to a maximum of £500 for the whole month. Should the trader lose all of the £500, virtually impossible, then he or she would be refunded the whole amount. It was a great initiative which led to the market booming, and I could see the same applied for the month of August. We shall see in the coming weeks then what lies in store. And that's it for this episode. You can download and subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify and Podbean. Head over to the website to send in a question, tradingbearpodcast.com. Alternatively, you can find me on Index Gain or Twitter under the name Trading Bear. Thanks for listening and stay tuned for the Mystery Player.
Mystery player. Position.
Defender.
Start price.
89p.
Current price.
£2.25.
PB.
8p.
MB.
14p.
Dividend yield.
9.9%.
Trading Bear. Today's mystery player was England's slabhead, Harry Maguire.